Hey, welcome everyone. Welcome to another part of What Now. It's another episode. I'm extremely exhausted, which is why I didn't have one in on Monday. But I'm back again today, so we're gonna see how this will go. I have a great guest today, an amazing producer who you may have known from the foreign exchange and other stuff actually, but most people know him from foreign exchange. So let's hope that this will be another inspiring talk for everyone. Hey Nancy, thanks for checking in. What's up? Thanks everyone. I hope everyone is doing okay. Again, I've had extremely busy weeks, so I'm super exhausted, but I felt the need to keep this going and not take too much of a break in this series. So let's start with my next. He's already here. He's on time. Thank you. I love that. I don't have to do a monologue. What's up, Chris? Thanks for checking in. Hope everything is well with you also. Waiting for Nick. Hey!
What up?
What's good?
How goes it?
It goes well. I was just saying to everyone that I'm extremely exhausted from the past few weeks. Actually, I'm super busy, but I had to keep this series going because it's so inspiring to everyone. How are
Fantastic. You? I'm well. I'm you know, it's a loaded question. It's like, yeah, I'm doing well.
It is.
I'm doing well. Like, I think if anything, you know, it does force you to think about that question more than ever before, right? Normally you'd say like, I'm good, you know, I'm fine. And now you're just really like, wait a minute, how am I? You know, but I'm fine. Yeah, I'm good. How are you? Other than busy, so, you're getting around a lot or what?
Well, getting around is a bit of a weird, I guess, a weird statement in these times. I guess I'm getting around online.
Yeah.
But it's opening up here a little bit. Obviously it's weird for us to do this in English because we're both Dutch, but you know, the audience is everywhere. So we're doing this in English. But over here it's been okay. The weather is weird. Of course this is the Netherlands, so it's not really summer. So we're just gonna have to deal with it. but it's okay. It's okay, you know, life with masks is pretty okay out here. It's not really necessary outside. I mean, I live in the city of Amsterdam and I can walk around without a mask, so it's outside.
Right.
How is it over there?
Man, it's just a shit show, you know. I mean, it's crazy for me just as an outsider just to see the politicization. What is the word? Everything is being politicized. Yes, I don't know. That's beyond my pay grade. But you know, wearing the masks, like it literally took people up until a couple of weeks ago. Now they're starting to really sort of do that. I'm here in the South, which is sort of, you have the added layer of it being the South. A lot of Republicans here, a lot of conservatives. So you do see that that sort of left and right. You know, if somebody wears a mask, they're probably on one side. If somebody doesn't, they're probably on another. Same for the social distancing, man. It's just crazy seeing just people go to bars and parties and go to the beach, and just a lot of young people that really just have thought like, screw it, I'm gonna just do my own thing. So it's we're right now here, honestly, right back pretty much square one, you know, where we started in March. I think we're probably even doing a little bit less, probably doing a little bit worse even than at the very beginning, just because the numbers are just staggering, you know.
Right. So do you think you got out of the first wave? Because we're kind of going into, hopefully not, but we're looking to go into a second wave. And I hear a lot of people in America saying, well, we didn't even get out of the first wave yet.
No, we didn't. We're still riding the wave. We're still, like it. And I mean, it went like this, and then it went like this. And people were like, "All right, cool, we got it." And then it went like this. You know, so essentially, people lost patience probably after 2 months. Started, you know, a lot of political pressure. So a lot of states started opening stuff back up, you know, way too early, including here in North Carolina. So that immediately started made the elevator go back up, you know. So we're still very much in the first, with the added comment that second wave is also going to hit us, because we're going to get, like, you know, regular flu and regular cold and stuff in the fall, you know. That's going to sort of be added to the effect of COVID. So I think we're going to get the second wave without even being out of the first over here. Depending on where you are in the country, you're going to get hit by both of them at the same damn time, you know?
Yeah, well, hopefully not. Your camera is freezing. Your image is freezing. So I don't know if it's just me.
It looks good on this side, but
I don't know. It's been.
Can I do anything about that?
I've been having the circle with you.
Oh.
Okay, whoever's tuned in, can you see both of us okay? Or, because I'm now wondering, is it just me that doesn't see you? Okay, so I guess it's me that doesn't see you. Hello, folks. Thanks for tuning in. I'm in a talk with Nicolay. Can you see us both clearly? Because I see a blurry, frozen image of Nick. So, okay, Real says, I see Pay fine. Oh, something's moving. Oh, it's frozen. Daryl says it's frozen. Okay, all right. It's you.
Do we need to, okay, it's me. Do we need to do
you want to come back in?
I'll come back in. I'll come find you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Okay. So he's gonna come back, because it was really weird talking to him when he's frozen, and I would like to have an actual conversation face to face. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Wesley Troy, Chris Charles, Real Harris, Nancy, thank you. Let's just see if it works better when he comes back in. And it is going to be interesting, because he has been in North Carolina for a while. So I would love to hear his take on the differences between what's going on over here and over there. Hey, now you're moving. Yes.
Better? All right, cool.
You're moving now, and I see.
I upgraded from dial-up to whatever good next. But sorry about that.
No, that's okay. We were still able to hear you, so I was like, okay, let me see how long this goes. But this is better. Okay, so you've been in North Carolina. How long have you been there now?
I've been here now. Man, that's a very great question. 15 years, coming on 15 years. I moved here in May of 2006.
Oh, wow.
And so it's been 15 years. It's been crazy. I think that, I think most Europeans have a sort of an idealized image of America in their minds, and I was certainly no different. I think I was naive in a lot of ways too. I thought, you think your history, and especially the type of music I like. I think I had it pretty much figured out, but I think living here is really sort of the eye-opening moment. I think especially with just the current climate. But I remember even in the first couple of years, it was really just a realization of like what America is and what it isn't, and what it could hopefully one day be. But it's been crazy seeing stuff like seeing Trayvon Martin over the years, seeing Mike Brown over the years. And so the whole George Floyd thing seems over here like this sort of like big sort of watershed moment, but at the same time you just have to ask people, like, what was it? Was the other stuff just not bad enough? Like, why did it take so long? I understand getting swept up in a moment, and I think that groundswell just became really strong. I saw that even overseas and stuff, but it's still it's still not really a moment to celebrate. You know, I think it's still a moment to realize, like, why did it take so long? Like,
right.
What are the forces at play that make it so that that system has been allowed to flourish, you know, and still does. So it's crazy just living here and just really seeing, especially over the last 4 years with the Trump administration, and that has been just its own kind of mind fuck.
Yeah.
You know, and the same goes for that. I mean, a lot has happened over the last 4 years that that people were sort of okay with, as long as it didn't really touch them at home. You
right.
know, the kids in the cages was apparently not a problem. You know, like there's so many things that now people are really convinced of Trump being an idiot just because of the COVID, and it hits them at home. But of course, you know, he's done so much over the last couple of years that I think we knew that, you know.
Are you an official citizen? Can you vote?
No, I cannot vote.
Okay.
I'm on a green card here still. I've always sort of like it really was like a sort of a thing for me, but at first I just really wanted to, like, I really wanted to maintain either way my my Dutch citizenship.
Your Dutch, yeah.
Because I think that at the end of the day, like, that is who I am, no matter where I am. You know what I mean? And so I've just kind of been kind of sort of eyeing what I can do in that regard. But because I've just been super legal on my green card, I haven't really felt the need to go full on Yankee. You know what I mean? Even though it's just, I can't vote, so that's kind of crazy because, you know, I'm here. I've been here.
Everything affects you.
Everything affects me directly, right? But I can't vote. So that's the biggest thing that makes me ultimately maybe want to do dual citizenship at some point. It really kind of depends. I think right now is not the time to really make that decision just yet.
No, I don't think so either.
It really is. Yeah. So ask me next year.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see what the elections do first.
Right. Exactly. I mean, they got to. I mean, I think you know, without, I don't. You know, one vote doesn't necessarily either way sway the outcome. But
hey, you don't know.
You don't. But in a weird way, I'm looking at America and, like, I feel they have to fix this one on their own. Like, I really, you know, I mean, I think, I mean, I don't have a lot of popular opinions about stuff, but Trump is a quintessential American president. You know, in a lot of ways, Trump was the president that America, a large part of America, chose, and I think it's there's this weird sort of poetic justice in America doing that at the very worst possible time in history, you know. So it's, in a way, I'm also just sort of like I sort of appreciate the role of being the outsider, even though I've been here. You know, you can hear it even in my voice. Like, I guess I'm as American as they come right now, but I just still feel I've been it's like a board. Resistance is fuel. You know, it's really true. But I don't know. I like sort of the in between. I've always looked at myself more as a, you know, a global citizen more than anything. You know, so I can be kind of wherever, and just I'll observe and I'll have my opinions about it, but I don't know, you know.
I've seen your opinions on Facebook.
One or two.
I'm pretty much behind them. So
yeah, I mean, I tend to be. I mean, I kind of toned it down a little bit because it you just realize at some point you're just yelling in space. You know what I mean? And I think there's this sort of thing where you share something and it makes you feel like you actually did something and you haven't. You know, so it's I just have a love-hate relationship with social media, Facebook in particular. I do like to get on my soapbox every now and then, but then I just realize, like,
that may not be the way.
It's just an echo chamber, you know. And I think I don't think it should be the only thing that you do to make your voice heard, but it can be fun sort of to get rid of some frustration, especially in the current political climate. There's some news to just blow your mind over every day, you know. And it's easy to become this sort of outrage poster where you're just like, look at this, look at that, and it doesn't really change at the end of the day. So I've
never really looked at it like that. I guess because the people that I choose to follow or see in my feeds are just, I guess, I don't want to say regular people because everyone is regular people, but I choose to only see positive things. And of course, news is shared. News is not always positive, but I don't really have the hype posters in my circle. So there's not the world stars, I don't ever see none of that. So I guess I did pretty well with my circle.
Yeah, I mean, you have to. I think that's sort of like how you can make it work. Like at first, when I started Facebook, I accepted everybody and anybody because I wanted to use it as a promotion thing. Yeah. Because back then you didn't have the separation between personal and pages and stuff. Yeah. You did. So I had like thousands of people on there that I don't know them from Adam. Yeah. So what I've done over the years is like I really had to sort of bring that back down to people that I at the very least know. Like maybe I've never met you physically. Maybe I haven't really ever had a long conversation with you, but I know you and I know what you're about. So I've been kind of like really giving people the boot, like quite honestly. People that I just, and it's terrible. I do it on their birthdays. It's absolutely the worst.
Because then you see them.
It's just like, who is this? Like, what is and it's like, you know, it really is terrible. But it's a great way to prune
clean up
the garden, you know. So that's what I've been doing. And now I've got a, you know, I'm not going to say everybody sort of thinks like I do on my list because that's not healthy, but I think I have no suckers anymore. Like I think
and you have people probably that you can disagree with in an adult way, because that's really what it is. If you would post something that I don't necessarily agree with, then first of all, I don't have to say anything because it's your post, it's your page. So why would I even comment? If I would comment, it should have been my point of view and not attacking your point of view. And you can have a healthy disagreement. I think that is always good. You don't always have to surround yourself with people with the same view. But at least people that are adults about it and are willing to see it from all different angles. That's healthy.
Well, and certain things you just can't. Like I can disagree with you in whether or not paying taxes is good or bad. Right. But I can't argue with you whether or not Black Lives Matter. Like I can't really, you know. So there's certain things that, like over here, they say like, why do you got to be so political? I don't look at certain things as political. Certain things are political, and other things are just much more basal, much more of the moral kind, you know.
And that's what I think this whole Black Lives Matter is, because that's not, for me, it's not political at all. Right, exactly. This is just fighting for basic human rights.
Yeah, it's just what's good and what is good and evil, if you will. That's a pretty clear-cut thing. So I don't really, and there's been so many people just coming out the woodworks just arguing about it. Oh yeah. Like as though there is something to argue about, you know. Right. That's been just another mind blower is seeing people just really, I guess, let their guard down, I guess show their true colors. The racism that you see just go unbridled. It's just, I mean, it says a lot about the country. It says a lot about, I think, that America hasn't really come to terms with that yet, still after all those years.
But have you had the same type of conversations with people in Holland? Mm-hmm. Because things are going on over here. Because I actually ran into or came across people in my friends list that I was really okay with, and now I'm not, because of what's going on. And it blew my mind, because again, we can disagree on something, and I can help you see it from my point of view, but there's an end to the explanation. There's an end to the having to always see it from their point of view instead of them seeing it from my point of view. And that's because, you know, I may not be Black, but I have been discriminated. I'm a woman of color. And so I realized a whole bunch of things in the Netherlands that was going on all my life, basically. Yeah. And so having to explain myself and defend my view, my feelings. It's not even a view, it's my feelings and my experiences. I'm over that. I can't do it anymore. So if you are constantly pressuring me into helping you understand it when you don't make an effort in understanding me, then I'm just done. There's nothing to argue about. So
well, and the funny thing about that is, if those people just would take 1 minute to put put themselves in your shoes or in anybody's shoes, they would ultimately, immediately, I think, understand it. But it's just this, and I think I've always known that about, you know, over in America, people have this sort of weird sort of idea that it's not, that there's no racism in Europe, or it's not
right.
the same, and at the same time they know that, like, well, look, this is who cultivated slave trade and stuff like that. So it's, they know about it, but because there hasn't been official sort of segregation in Europe, like the way that there was here. A lot of people have this sort of mythical sort of view of it. I've always known that it just as much, and there's hideous racism in Europe. You know, I remember even when I was in my teens, like just witnessing that, just across Europe, in France and stuff, just stuff that is just very, very ugly. And I do think people over there tend to really deny it. And in fact, they'll argue you about it, and they'll be angry as hell. And all the while sort of missing the entire point, you know.
Exactly.
So it's really interesting to see even Holland sort of come to terms with a lot of that stuff, a lot of you know, a lot of TV stuff, a lot of music stuff too, where you just realize, like, look, this has been fucked for like a long ass time. And I'm personally, you saw this even with I've been following that story about the nightclub, this whole, and just sort of as an example of, I guess, just how these things happen nowadays. And you just realize, like, people have such limited viewpoints, you know, even on race still in 2020 in Holland. You know, they love a certain type of music, but they have no idea where it comes from, what it means, what the context is culturally. So it's crazy, man. And I think in a lot of ways, like, I do think that over there they've got some stuff to figure out just as much as over here.
Just as much,
you know, so, but it does seem like, I think, again, globally, it did, like speaking with some of my family members and sort of stuff, that you just realize, like, wow, this might be a moment over there too. You know, I really do hope so, because it's very needed. It
is. There's, I mean, you know, having had the fights against Black Pete for years, I'm kind of worried and excited for this next coming December, because it's going to be a whole different type of fight than all the years before, because of what's happening this year. And so I'm very anxious to see what that's going to do, and if it is going to be a situation where, you know, the anti-Black Pete movement is going to be heard in a normal way, instead of always being out demonstrated, so to say, or out protested by, you know, the pro-Black Pete movement out here.
It's going to be it's going to be an interesting moment for sure. I mean, I think this might be really the turnaround moment for that, because and we talked about it even online before, how a lot of the politicians just same as, I mean, really, I look at the Black Pete thing no different than like some of the Trump stuff, like you know, how Trump sort of flaunts the Confederate flags and stuff like that. It's really no different, and people are going to take that and just hold on to it as though it's it's a life raft, you know. And I think in all reality, that whole, like, well, this is our culture, all that bullshit that you hear about it.
Right.
I think that is going to change, because I think more and more people, I think, maybe realize that, like, whatever a tradition is means nothing if it's not for everybody. Right. That's kind of the whole point of, like, these holidays and stuff. And if it is clearly not for everybody, it is for nobody, you know. And I think that might be something that like more people than before hopefully take away from this year, let's look at this, and, like, outside of the fact that, you know, it is not, I mean, I think most kids grow up liking that stuff, and then at some point they're like, all right, whatever. So I don't, you know, it's the older people that are,
They like it
are,
for the presents.
Right, they like it because they get free stuff, they get gifts and shit, but they don't really care. I think how it's presented, right?
Exactly.
And I think it's the older generations that are sort of just like don't want to let go of that. Yeah. But I think it's a moot point. I think it's going to happen. And kids don't care, you know. And it's. I think it's time. I think it's really, really time.
It's been time. Obviously.
It's been time. Yeah.
Going forward to, I'm going to leave this topic alone for a minute. Thank you for your take on it. I want to know how COVID-19, the lockdown since March, has affected you personally and musically.
Well, it's it's not what I expected was going to happen, you know, and I think you know, first and foremost, musically, like I really think that we're in a pickle, like that really, yeah. You know, I think music and culture, but music specifically, I think we're in some serious problems, which is crazy because like I'm a student of the climate of the industry, you know. Right. I've released records now for about 20 years, and I've sort of seen some very big shifts. You know, I've seen CDs disappear. Yeah. I've seen record stores disappear. I've seen downloads come and go. Yeah. You know, until sort of streaming was kind of the only thing left. Yeah. And everybody at that time was always like, well, live music, that's where it's at. Live music is that's the retirement. Live music is the security. Live music is you can't download it. And now all of a sudden we're like, oh shit. So it's not live music. Yeah. And so it's not live music. It's not CDs. It's not this. It's not that. And so I think it gave us sort of like another sort of whack in the head, you know, after having to sort of swallow, you know, just a lot of, you know, blows over the years in terms of just how people buy and listen to music. So I think it's a crazy time, honestly. I think the first couple of months I really wasn't sure what to do. Like I was really not inspired at all. Not sure.
Nobody was, yeah.
No, well there were a few, and I'm just like, what the hell is this? They're like, what is that drug? Because there's some people that were instantly like on the streams, on the this, on the that, like
but they probably
baking bread.
I mean, that's why I started this series, because I saw a lot of people in my environment, obviously in this industry, down in the dumps, frustrated, depressed, you know, finances going down. So I started this little series on Instagram to motivate and inspire people and to show them you're not the only one. Everyone going through the same thing. And, you know, some of the people that I talked to had great ideas and were saying how they got to those ideas. So it kind of triggers everybody else's mind how to think during this time. And maybe you can come up with something as well. And it started out just for creatives, but it's basically for everyone that's, you know, home and maybe jobless or, you know, whatever the case is. It's just to motivate and inspire people by showing them that everyone in the industry is going through the same thing. Yeah.
Well, then I think I found it at some point, or maybe I found it is a big word, but I after a while I realized that I you know, I think turning inward was for me sort of the answer. Like I think there was something that I did was like I really took a look at what are some things that I've always wanted to do, but I've always put off because of time and this and this and that. So there's been a number of things that I've done, from really cleaning up, you know, music over the years, or you know, just organizing stuff. Like I'm more organized than ever before.
That's good.
You know, but also just I've really sort of like tried to fill some holes in my knowledge. Like I really was interested in like I said, just expanding on some music that I felt like I had some blind spots, you know, or even stuff that I did know, like I wanted to do some really deep dives. So I've done stuff where I'm like, okay, what is every record released on Strictly Rhythm, like a house label in the 90s, and what of that is worth listening to? And so I've really done a lot of I guess a lot less music of my own and a lot more listening, you know, a lot more studying, a lot more appreciating. And that's been fun. I've been watching a lot of music documentaries too, so that kind of plays into that. Because I at some point I was like, look, this is not going to be a time where it's going to come sort of like automatically.
Yeah.
You gotta just, you gotta really find it. You know, you gotta really find it. And even in terms of music, because like pretty much as I was sort of like figuring out, like, okay, we're 3 months into this lockdown. I think we'll start doing something. And then the whole George Floyd thing happened, and it kind of pushed me back again. Because at that point was like, look, if I don't have anything to say that is like straight to the point, like I'd rather not say anything, you know, and that even involved music. Like I really wasn't going to release something that is not dealing with it. You know, at the same time, I'm not really, that's not really something that we do, you know, like I think even, you know, with the foreign exchange, I think we're a very here and now group. And I don't think there's any doubt where we stand, but we're not necessarily like a Run the Jewels or something. We just go in on some like heavy society criticism for an album long. So I really didn't know at first, man. I was really conflicted. I really didn't want to put any sort of more noise into the world. So I've really sat back even over the last few months and wanted that to sort of have center stage. And now I'm sort of starting to see like, okay, I think it might be time now to maybe look at putting some more stuff out in the world. And then how does it work now that we are not, you know, like what does releasing music mean?
Right. How does that look like?
You know, like do you release an album knowing that you can't tour it? We're lucky. Like, I mean, I was never a touring musician. We started touring because there was demand, because the records did great. Most people, they tour to promote their records. You know? So they are right now, I think, in a tough place because they're used to their income coming from live music. For us, it was always something that we did kind of as an extra. So that in that sense, you know, I'm lucky. Like I've released a couple of records that just in general provide me with an income. You know, that is not like mansion level, but it's sufficient to make a living. I'm not in my, well, I call it a mansion. Like, I call it a mansion. But
that's good enough.
Right. I call it a mansion. It's a mention in my mind. But no, it's I realize we're very, very lucky. There's like a lot of people that literally, you know, made their money just doing show to show to show.
I've talked to touring artists, and you know, the common positive thing that came out of that for them is the fact that they can actually sit down, because it was usually back-to-back shows in different countries. Finding a healthy balance and trying to apply that when the world opens up again. So don't fall back into your rush back-to-back shows from country to country, trying to maintain the physical and mental health balance. But there's also a lot of artists that are holding back their releases because they can't tour. And I'm not necessarily sure if that's a good thing, because in this time, everyone needs new music. We need art to heal and to, you know, set our mind off of things, or, you know, to enjoy.
And that's where I ended up like thinking about, like, ultimately, you know, people are still going to want to have something to listen to, you know, and I think that that is ultimately, I think, what will be sort of the bottom line, that even though you can't tour it, you can probably not promote it in a way that you're used to, but you're going to just have to figure it out. You know, I think ultimately the couple of, like, we could pause for a while, you know, like I've felt the same. Like, I've been making albums for like the last 20 years, and every album you just roll right into the next one. So even for myself, I was like, you know, maybe it's not a bad thing if I just don't do anything for half a year, you know what I mean? And just, like, I don't know, take a walk and just do a crossword puzzle. And I think I think there's something healthy about that, because a lot of us, we do work.
We just stay working.
We stay grinding. We stay sort of having crazy hours, not a lot of sleep. We probably eat not as good as we should. You know,
do you have a better do you have a better balance in your diet or your physical health? Because a lot of people took this time out also to do more workout, to eat better. Has that been something that you've been doing?
No, I've just maintained my winter body throughout the summer. Is what I'm doing. Like
Nothing's changed there.
I've just skipped an entire 2 seasons.
I know your wife makes up for all of that because
right,
she's
right.
a beast.
Right. So and I don't compare myself to her either way.
Oh my gosh, you would die if you did.
But I think that no, I'm honestly one of those guys where you have to really like coerce me to go to the gym. I do like to be out and about and stuff, but I'm not really a gym guy. I'm not really
no gym rat. Yeah.
Not really. So I have to really pay attention right now, like truth be told, because it's
you're getting
like
older.
right, yeah, very much so. You're getting older, you're getting like you're inside a lot more.
Yeah.
Seated, you know what I'm saying, seated lifestyle. Yes. Which I've always had because like I'm in the studio like 90% of the time, so I'm just kind of sitting down, and that's just a terrible. That's kind of the new smoking is like sitting down.
It is.
And, so you don't always take time to eat right. So I think that will always be a really big challenge for me just based on my lifestyle, like what I do for a living. But it does help you sort of realize that all these things are connected right now. Your immune system is what you need to fight this shit if you do get it. And you can boost that yourself. So it's kind of this thing where I just realize it. I just don't always.
You just gotta apply it at some point.
I'm just terrible at just follow through.
Follow
just,
through.
I've got the best ideas, and I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, and then it's like time to go, and I'm like, I'm gonna just
never mind. Yeah,
I'm just taking another nap right now. And that's the funny thing. Like I've been doing a lot of more napping, and so your sleep is off too, because you just wake up in the middle of the night like awake as all hell, and it's just because you took 5 naps in the day, and it's just like then that sort of starts. It's
So is this also a time for you where you find new artists that inspire you or that you want to work with? Because a lot of people that I've talked to, producers and artists, are now kind of finding more time to either get back to people that reached out to them to work together, or reach out to people that they've always wanted to do a collaboration with, or finally do this project that was in the works for years. Has this time also been like that for you? Are people hitting you up to do something, or are you finding new people to work with?
Yeah, well, I've been, one thing that I love is like when I get to do some great remixes, because that's a side of my work that I just really love, because that's kind of where I really get to sort of geek out a little bit more than normally, so I've been doing that a lot, and that has really been great because it's just one song, you know what I'm saying? It's something that's very overseeable, and and I get to work with people that I really admire, but that I haven't worked with before. So I've done 2 or 3 remixes lately like that of people that I really, really was excited about hearing from. And so I'm just trying to do that. I'm trying to put a project together myself. I'm not 100% sure. Again, this kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier. I'm not 100% sure how I am going to envision it, because it's again, I think it's just a different time, and it asks for different sort of approaches. I've always been an album guy, I've always made albums. Like it's always been, this is the album, this is these 10 to 12 songs, and it always made sense to me, and it still does to a point, but now I'm just more thinking about other ways to do it, maybe more frequent releases, maybe EPs here and there, just something that instead of just that album cycle, just something that keeps it moving, maybe a little bit more organically.
I think the fans would like that.
I think they would. I think as long as the material is great, I think I think
Yeah,
it's
keep the quality high. Don't
right.
just do it because you want to put something out.
Right.
That's never a good idea.
That is never a good idea.
Yeah.
And a lot of people do it.
Yes,
So
they
it's
do.
never a good idea. But no, I do sort of want to figure out kind of like what's the best way to do it in 2020. And I think it may just be as simple as just putting it out there and just there it is.
Probably.
You know, and let people just enjoy it in their lives right now. Let it be, I guess, a distraction if anything.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
But it is something I'm breaking my brain around. I really want to do it the right way, yet at the same time realizing there may not be a right way. So it's kind of like
there's never one right way. There may be a multiple right ways.
Yeah, yeah.
And what might be the right way for one person is not necessarily the right way for the next.
Well, and that's very true. And I think again, I think whatever you do right now, you better make it count. You know.
Yeah.
And I think I really do want to start putting some stuff out. I've looked into the streaming thing, but I'm just that may not be me. Like that might not be. I really just like the control of stuff.
Right.
Like, and I just that whole live thing, man.
Well,
like,
put your options together. And
well, you can pre-record some stuff. You can find ways to maintain the control. Yeah. And I've been thinking of ways to maybe do something like that, you know. But at the same time, everybody was doing it. And so I'm the type of guy that if 10 people do it, I'm losing interest, you know. And I think a lot of people have done a great job at it too. A lot of great internet DJs, a lot of great music production, people live in the studio just doing stuff. And they got it figured out so good that I'm just like, I don't know. I might just let them do the thing, and I'll just do mine. I'm a little jealous sometimes when I see somebody who's really killing it online on some streams. I'm like,
right. But it's the same thing with these talks. I want to shout out Crazy Legs. I see him coming in here. Happy anniversary with Rocksteady. I saw that passing by today. But yeah, this live talk, everyone is doing live talks. And so at one point I was like, okay, maybe I'm one of the many. I started pretty early in just right when the lockdown happened. It was just a whim, an idea. And it's funny because I actually started with Skeem Richards, who's always willing to try something out with me. And it became a hit. And I'm not saying hit, oh, millions of people are watching this. But people needed this. And as long as there's still one person out there that needs this and I can help that person, then I'm okay with that.
Oh,
and what has happened is I've been connecting people through this talk. Like people have met people through the talk. Artists are working together now. People getting ideas, exchanged. And I'm just like, I did that because of this simple idea that I had. And if that's what it's for, then I'm happy. And I don't care if 5 million other people are doing a live talk. If they're all with a purpose, then why not?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of space right now, and I think we do sort of have to figure it out together. Yeah, you know, and I've seen somebody do, like, some people are doing really cool stuff, like really just, you know, whether it's super informative or just shooting the shit, you know, like people just bullshitting. But I think you need that right now. You just need that extra human element and realizing that somebody else is also in a pickle, you know, even though you sort of look up to them maybe in so many ways. Like, this is something that affects us all. Like, this is really different from, you know, like it really reminds me of when we were going through the hurricane 2 years ago, but now the whole world has the hurricane. Like, everybody, like, it really is that crazy. So in a beautiful way, we're all in it, you know. Nobody's immune, like, no pun intended. So it does sort of give us a lot of common ground, especially us creatives, where it's up to us sort of to provide sort of context and provide commentary of the time, you know. And if you think about periods like in history where there was either a lot of social upheaval or otherwise, music has always been a really big part of it. Music was a big part of the civil rights struggle in the 60s and 50s and before that. And so I think ultimately we have to voice that, you know. We have to frame it.
any creative, whether you're a writer, a painter, a music producer, whatever type of artist you are, in these type of times of crisis, there's always great art coming out to relieve the people, to relieve the frustration, to document history. And those are things that come out of this. If we look post-COVID, I don't know, 20, 30, 40, 100 years later, and they look back at this time, there will be great art that came out of this stressful time. I have no doubts about that. Chip Fu shouting you out. He'll be a guest of mine
Chip
next month. Yeah.
What up, dog?
Yeah. I have a question. Let's see what the question is. Okay, Kalani Records asks, the foreign exchange releases on the horizon? Of course, that was going to be a question.
Yeah, they're on the horizon. Just where is the horizon, right? Like, what is the horizon? Like, yeah, I mean, we, same as everybody, man. We're right now just sort of figuring it out. We have always been a group, again, like I said, that goes from album to album and does an album cycle, even with, you know, the art and everything that comes with it, design and everything. And, you know, we really, we were kind of working on a bunch of stuff. Even as COVID unfolded, Phonte was actually on tour with Little Brother, because he was doing that the last year and a half, and had to really stop mid-tour. So even all of their stuff was, you know, on pause. And ever since we've been kind of on pause, I think that we're same as everybody. We're trying to figure it out. And I think we're, you know, as we're running a label too. So we have sort of even the added layer of like, what are we going to do in terms of just label releases, in terms of just going forward. You know, it really does seem like somebody just kind of really reshuffled the whole deck. And we're going to have to really learn everything, I think, over. So I can't really say when. Like, that's the main thing. Like, I can say that there will always be something to look forward to from us. I just don't really know when. I don't really know how. But I do know
that it's coming. It's
coming.
Yeah.
It's coming.
Not that there's nothing. You guys are having stuff in the works, and it will be out there at some point. So people, hold your horses. Patience is virtue.
Yeah, man. I mean, and I love, honestly, like, it'd be worse if they didn't ask me where the new stuff was. If they're like, oh, just do whatever, take your time, man.
Right.
That's
a true fan.
So right. So I'm really excited that people even still give a shit in 2020.
Right. Oh, they do, because I was listening to I listened to a radio show in the UK every morning. A friend of mine does this great positive vibes show, plays this old school stuff, and they were playing for an exchange, and all the people there were like, oh, I love her. So I was like, hey, I got to talk with Nicolay on Wednesday. And everyone was like, oh, we love Nicolay. So it was just great to see that, you know, when the record was played, that everyone was just jumping. I mean,
it's crazy, man. I mean, we get such love, dude. It's just so, I mean, it's still a beautiful thing. It still makes me feel like, you know, 15 years ago when we first started doing some stuff, it is really crazy to realize that, I mean, these are people that have really supported me from day one, you know, and that never gets old. Like, I realize even the problems that we're having right now, like, you remember, I think, you know, that you have a place in people's hearts, and the music that you've done has been a part of people's lives. You know, we hear about people that get married to certain tracks of ours, or that do, you know, Zumba. I don't know, I mean, whatever. But it is really, that part is really great. Like, both me and Phonte just love it when we just find out that somebody just really has the music sort of like in a special place in their life. You know? And that is something, that's why I never say, like, I mean, I don't know if I'll ever quit, but that's why I always say, like, I can't ever quit this stuff, because it
just go as you flow, as you flow, go as you flow.
Yeah. I think as long as people still are interested in hearing some new stuff, we'll always be
well, this person here says Effie is timeless, and that's the whole thing with music. If you make timeless music, if you make timeless music, there will always be a need for it, and it will always be relevant. So
I think we want to do two things. I think we want to make timeless music, and we want to make music. We want to make music for people that are like we are. You know, I think we're ultimately just two regular guys, and we make music for regular people.
Right.
You know, whatever that means. But
whatever you feel you are, that music is for you.
Exactly. So it's yeah, man. I mean, we just really want to give people something that makes this whole shit show just a little bit easier. You know,
shout out to Knots. I see you.
What up, Knots?
One of my favorite producers as well.
Dude, Knots is I should probably not get started. But
we have a couple minutes left, so
on that, like, I mean, Knots is one of the best to ever do it. Like, and I think right now of his generation, probably the best to still do it. I think Knots has reinvented himself like multiple times, you know, over time, and just really, because I knew Knots from older stuff, and then he started working with Little Brother on a couple of newer stuff, and it was like, holy shit. And I always try to see how he does it. Like there was a Little Brother track that I did some keyboards on, and it was a Knots track, and I got that multi-track, and I'm just sitting there looking like, what's that hi-hat doing? Like, what is he, you know, just trying to always sort of cop a feel, I guess, Knots. You know. Knots he's a good dude, man. He's
ever since I got onto him years ago, and he's always been such a nice person as well. That always, you know, for me, you know, I interviewed a lot of artists, and it always makes it so much better if the people that you're a fan of are actual great people. Yeah. Because that's not always the case, unfortunately.
Nope. No, it's not.
Yeah. Okay, so we have a couple of minutes left. I want to ask you two more questions.
All right.
One is, who are people, musicians, could be anybody alive that you would still want to work with? What's on your bucket list? Like, I absolutely want to work with this person before I leave this earth.
See, I get that question, but then when I think about answers, I'm like, no, I kind of want to leave them alone because they're doing fucking great. Like, I'm a big fan right now of that group Crack Ben. I keep saying it wrong, but it's Crack Ben.
Crack Ben.
Crack Ben. It's like Crack Ben, but it's a trio from Houston, and they make guitar music, if you will. You should really check them out. Their Tiny Desk concert is one of the best things I've ever seen. It's just 3 guys. They sound like there's 12 people doing shit, and it's it's just really one of those groups where it really grabs you, and you're just like, holy shit, this is like totally it. And then I'm like, I don't know that I even would want to do anything with them, because I'm just like, y'all are just already perfect. Like,
you don't want to mess with that. Yeah,
like when I become a fan of somebody, same with a group called Flock of Dimes. There's a group called Flock of Dimes from I think she's over here now in North Carolina.
Okay.
Incredible artist. Like, that album blew me out of the water. And but then you just start sort of playing around with a collabo idea, and it's just like, I don't know.
Yeah, like, you wouldn't know how to collab.
I would much rather sort of like, my best collabs are honestly with people that people don't know, beforehand.
Right.
Like, my best collabs have been people that came up from our sort of little bubble.
Yeah.
And that we have introduced sort of to the world. So, but
I'll accept that answer.
Yeah, like I mean, I think I could say like, oh, I want to work with Jill Scott. Oh, I want to work with Maxwell, but truth be told, it's gonna be Joe Smo, like, that's gonna knock my socks off.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's gonna be somebody that I've never heard of.
Well, I like that.
Oh shit.
I like that, I think it will be interesting for people watching this, feeling like they have a shot to work with you because they don't have to be big. I think that's always inspiring for people to always say, it doesn't matter who you are. If you're talented, I want to work with you.
Yeah, I think that's what we've always done. Like, it really, especially like somebody like Phonte, who really has his ear on, like, to the street. Like, he doesn't care if you have 2 followers or 5 or 10, or if your mom bought all your CDs.
Yeah.
Like if he loves what you're doing, like he will reach out to you and let you know.
But that's how it should be. That's how.
Yeah.
I feel.
But not everybody. I think a lot of people view collaborations as ways to get on or to get ahead or to
right.
Get,
they try to get instead of actually making it about the art, they're making it about how can I get,
it's about the cosign and about sort of furthering yourself.
That's true.
That's what a lot of people have always asked us, like, why haven't y'all ever collaborated with like a big name artist on any of your records? And it goes to that sort of effect of like, well, you don't really have to.
Yeah.
Right? Exactly. It's much, it honestly, I don't care who it is,
Yeah.
if you can do this one particular thing that makes us go, oh my God, like there it is.
Well, I've asked some people to be a guest on my little series, and they're like, well, I'm not famous and I don't have so many followers. I'm like, that's not what it's about. It's if you have a story, if I think you're inspiring, then I'm sure you can inspire others, because I know how to get that out of a person, obviously.
Yeah.
And so for me, it doesn't matter if you have 2 followers or 2 million followers. If you have a story that inspires people, then that's enough for me to talk to you, to want to talk to you and want to know about you. Sometimes I get put on to people that I don't know, and I feel like, ooh, this is interesting.
Right.
Before I get the countdown, Damien, my friend, asked where you're from in North Carolina. Is Wilmington, right?
Yeah, it's Wilmington, so it's on the Atlantic coast. It's where all the hurricanes hit.
Hence no mention, because it's a waste.
Right. It seems like it's a good place to be, but then like Wilmington on the Atlantic coast, and in North Carolina, it's hot as fuck out right now. It's another thing that is really
give
crazy.
us some of that.
Well, this heat, you don't. That's the thing. Like, we've been inside for the last 3 months, and now we're like, all right, let's go outside, and it's too hot.
Let's go back inside.
It's too hot. It's this heat over here, man. It's different. Like July and August is something else. Like it's one thing that I haven't really gotten used to yet. Like this southern heat is.
Man,
like,
I can get used to it. Coming from the Netherlands, I can't get used to these wet, cold summers that we have with a few hot days.
That does suck. Yeah,
like we have we had 3 hot days in June, and those were the 3 days I took the days off to just be outside and get my sunshine on, my solar charge, because I don't know when I'm getting it, because I can't fly away now.
I know, that's another thing, man. Like we can't even, like, I can't come home, like, for now, at least.
Right.
It's it's kind of crazy. I can, but I don't know if they'll want me back over here. Which, I mean, the funny thing is, like, I may have to quarantine either way. Like, it came up recently.
You can come home, but you have to stay in the house where you're staying for 14 days.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is about normally the moment where I leave again.
Where your family's like, you can leave now again.
Yeah, right. We're good. Well, and I don't know. Like, right now we just have to be patient. I think that apart from that, I don't know if I like the idea of flying right now.
Yeah.
Just the concept of it, just with
being
everything going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think as much as I would like to, I think I'm gonna sit tight for a little bit. But it is another example.
And stuff.
Yeah,
I'm already getting the countdown. So one last question. We have a minute and a half.
Okay.
What is something that you want to give out to the people that are watching now?
Man, that is a fucking difficult.
Do you have a life motto that you live by?
Just no, because like you do that and it's fucking tiring as hell. Like, you can't live every day like it's your last, okay? Like, that is just that bullshit. Like, all that stuff. No, you know what? If anything, I think that the current times, like, do underline that we all have to just be nice to one another.
Yes, I agree.
All that bullshit back and forth is just, man, it's just not good for the soul.
Yeah.
And I just think, I mean, again, like you said earlier, we can debate, we can have cool debates, and we can go back and forth with facts and all this bullshit. But the whole thing, boils down to treating somebody the way that you want to be treated.
Yes.
And I think it is no different that we expect that from the damn cops.
Right.
You know, we got to expect it from everybody, you know, and I think if anything, like I try in my life to be to other people the way that I would like to be treated, you know, and I think you can't really, I'm not really a super spiritual guy or even like, I don't really, but I always try to sort of be a positive net balance at the end of the day.
On that note, I have 10 seconds left. I want to thank you for this conversation. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Nick, I'll hit you up. Thank you so much. Stay safe. Bye.
You too, darling. See